Good morning, everyone. I could just start crying all over again. I wanted to do some post Zoran thoughts. First and foremost, if you have not watched Zoran's acceptance speech, go do that right now. It was unapologetic. It was so clear that he is going to work tirelessly to actually make good on the campaign promises and on really representing working New Yorkers and the majority of New Yorkers who are really hanging on. Whether it's their rent that's going through the roof, whether it's losing a job, whether it is the expenses of having to commute to your job on a slow bus or an expensive subway fare. These are the things that it's so clear he is going to tackle. And moreover, the real hope that Zoran represents is the antidote to fascism. And he has said as much many, many times, and he continued it yesterday, which is we don't need to move to the center. We don't need to capitulate on certain issues, on immigration, on LGBTQ plus rights, on abortion rights, even though he didn't say any of those things. He stood for, look, all we need to do is start focusing on the real people who are swindling us and who are not paying their fair share, unlike the rest of the Americans, which is the 1%. It's the millionaires and billionaires, okay? And if we do that, everything will be A-okay. And you stop doing Islamophobia, we can be gravy. But if you keep running, as he put it, people and politicians who condescend to the American people, we can smell that. And we understand that you're not being genuine and you don't stand for anything other than wanting to hold political office. So a little bit of shots fired at Kamala Harris, at Joe Biden, even at all of the Ezra Kleins that are trying to tell us that we need to move to the center. So that was amazing. But just first and foremost, the hope I feel. I feel like no matter where you're living, no matter what the political situation is, here in LA, it's complicated. We've got our own billionaires. We've got our own centrist Democrats. But we also have incredible progressive candidates as well as office holders, city council members. And whatever it is you can do, if it's an hour of your week, if it's 2 hours, I'm feeling renewed to say, I can make this time, I can carve this out. We have to get to work where we're at, because look at New York. Look at what New York was able to do. And look at the compelling message of real values of saying, if you work hard, you should be able to put food on your table. If you live in a city, if you work in a city, you should be able to live there. And it's not even about hard work. It's just about basic human dignity, right? Let's be real. And I think, the other thing that's fascinating right now is the media, man. I was not by my own choice, but watching CNN last night. And you've got this Democratic Socialist, unapologetically Democratic Socialist. And he gives one of the most inspiring political speeches, I think, of our lifetimes. Yeah, of many of our lifetimes. And you go back to the CNN panel, and it's, who is it? David Axelrod, which arguably might be the most left voice, which is you're in a bad way if that's true. David Axelrod, a former MAGA Trump person. You got Scott Jennings, that douchebag. And then you've got Van Dead Babies Jones giving their opinion about why Zoran Mamdani won. Are you kidding me? These people are absolute psychopaths. And so it's wild to me that our pundit class is so unrepresentative of the voters themselves. And this only gets more and more pronounced the longer it goes. The longer that you have the same people who were giving commentary 10 years ago are giving it now. So those are my thoughts, as someone who does media, as someone who is a pundit. I am just so struck by the fact that they can never change it up, because again, it's corporate media, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And you know what? The hit pieces are already coming down on Zoran, and they're going to continue to come down on him. So it is also our job to defend him, even if we don't live in New York City, even if his policies don't directly affect us. They are a vision. This is a long and hard path. And you can also help him with the transition. They are fundraising for that. Check out Zoran's page for that. The last thing I'm going to say is the right. The right is freaking out about this, okay? It's funny, from like Jack Posobiec to Laura Loomer to, Mike Cernovich, all of these, true goblins of Twitter, who are, Laura Loomer less so because she is Jewish, but like, varying degrees of anti-Semite, Islamophobe, racist, all that. And they're like, oh my God, what happened? We shouldn't have been focusing on this. We should have been focusing on getting out the vote. We should have been doing that. And it's like, what do you guys actually think your party plays fair? You guys think you want to get out the vote? No. Do you know what your party is? Your party is the party of disenfranchisement, of gerrymandering, of stripping people of their right to vote, of trying to obliterate the Voting Rights Act vis-a-vis the Supreme Court, purging voter rolls. That is your party. That's how you win. You don't do get out the vote. There's a reason get out the vote efforts are predominantly Democrat. It's because you guys don't want people to vote. Okay, you want just a select few rich white people to do the voting. And by the way, the numbers in New York are pretty stark in terms of white people went to Cuomo. And Mamdani really grew in the African American vote and the Latino vote. Huge. So, it's just funny that they're like, what do we do? What do we do? Buddy, just calm down. You guys are already, sending out your Proud Boys to scare all of us, come 2026. And look, here's what I'll say about 2026. 2026 is right around the corner, baby. So yes, will they try to send ICE and their little, deputized divorced dads and militia bros out there to scare people? Probably, yeah. But that means that our energy, our turnout needs to be even greater. And that also means that our candidates need to start talking the talk and walking the goddamn walk, okay? We need to demand more from them because we can't get behind you if you're not behind us. Look at the power of Zoron, okay? So yes, 2026, it's not 2028. By the time 2028 rolls around, who knows? Starlink will have figured out a way to flip every single vote, and they will run the, comatose carcass of Donald Trump. Or Erica, Kirk will marry J.D. Vance, and they will, the Donald Trump, they will fake his death, and they will ascend to power. Who knows what's going to happen? But the point is, 2026 is critical. And it's around the corner, and we can do a lot of damage. And by we, I mean people who are not fascist. Antifa. Anyway, them's my thoughts. What are yours? Thank you.